Hello Virgo friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my Virgo November 2021 Astrology Must-Knows Horoscope Forecast. Definitely go to anniehelpsyou.com to see the interface for all of the free goodies that I make for you each month, and there are a bunch, so you don't want to miss any of it. If you forget that website address, you can look in the notes underneath this video. Also, if you'd like to be a professional astrologer, or if you'd like to take your love for astrology deeper to help yourself and your friends, then definitely you will love my Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery Course, which you can see at my school at lumelife.com, L-U-M-E life.com. I also have free courses, including a free course on abundance at lumelife.com, so you can check that out there. 2 admin notes for Virgos to make the most of this video. First is that this is for you if Virgo is your moon sign or your sun sign or your rising sign, and even for those of you who go deeper into astrology, which I know I have quite a crew that is very into going into deeper and deeper layers. If you've got Virgo as your Mercury or your Venus or your Mars or any other placements you watch for, what I'm going to talk about here is going to be part of your astrological picture. If you're a late degree Virgo, so if you're like September 11th through the rest of the sign, or 20 to 29 degrees. The later in degree and the later in September your birthday is, the more this is true. I also recommend that you watch my Libra reports because you late degree, cuspy people have a more complex read. So Virgo and Libra for you late degree placements. Okay, so what is going on this month? I am very excited about this month, although we are stepping back into eclipse season and there is a lot to know there. It's definitely going to be a lot more intense, a lot more fast paced. The break that we had in between the eclipse times is over and radical change is coming, ready or not. But at the same time, there are some very sweet, very important must-knows about this month that makes it one of my favorite months of the whole year. So I'm just going to go right into that. One of the reasons why I love this month so much is because it is dancing between the personal planet retrogrades. Mercury retrograde was covering September and October. It started to wear off toward the end of October, and by November 3rd, that cycle is completely finished. Venus retrograde is starting December 19th, and the shadow period for that starts November 18th. Venus will be retrograde until the end of January, and its post-shadow period will go until the beginning of March. So towards the end of November, we are starting a very long cycle with the ruler of love, beauty, money, design, self-esteem being offline for a while, and there are some pretty big no-nos during that time. So you'll want to really educate yourself on what those are, because we're not going to talk about them this month. I'll talk about them some more next month, but you can just get a leg up by going to search for Annie Botticelli, Venus retrograde. I've kind of literally written the book on this transit. You can see tons about this in my book, Planetology. You can also see my video called Venus retrograde. I think it's actually still to date the most viewed Venus retrograde video. And it's only 20 minutes. So in 20 minutes, you can find out all of the basic things that you need to know about Venus retrograde as far as what to avoid, so that you can plan to do those things before or after, which is why I always give you this info so early, because there are cycles that are at play in the universe, and the more we align with them, the easier life can be. So speaking of those cycles, there are things in the retrograde time that are more internal and from the past, and where we sort of just sit with our web and eat the food that comes in the web. So that's September, that's October, that's December, that's January, but November is an active web weaving time. That's a big must know because it's very differentiated from the months before and after. So it's a time to add a web in a different area, you know, and quite literally you might be bringing your stuff online onto the web, right? So it's a time for your launches, for your big communications, your agreements, your contracts, your big purchases, your purchases of cars and boats and houses and sales of houses and all of those things that are like high ticket items that are that you've been waiting to do. Or there's just so much energy, good energy around those purchases, and clarity in contracts and clarity about what it is that you want to purchase, and good energy for negotiations. There are also more sweet aspects than salty aspects this month. It's another reason why it's I love it, must know, because we've had since May more salty aspects than sweet ones. And we've been feeling that. Sometimes by a landslide there has been as well in this recent months. Now, if you want a write-up of all the sweet, all the salty aspects, what they are, what you can expect from them, delivered into your inbox 1 month early, go to anniehelpsyou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter. If you've been watching me for a while and hearing me talk about this and you haven't signed up for my email newsletter, do it. Seriously, if you think I put a lot into my videos, I really put a lot into the correspondence there, and I only send out 3 main emails a month, and they're all completely content rich of things that I've created to help you make the most of the energies, okay? And that's what it's focused on. So, but for our purposes here, November 26th through 30th, put gold stars on those days. We have 9 sweet aspects. 7 of those sweet aspects are on the 29th and 30th. And you'll feel those the days before and the days after. So that time at the end of November to the beginning of December, there's this cluster of energy that is very rare. And it's, even though we are getting into the Venus retrograde time, that doesn't have to interfere with this sweetness, because Venus retrograde is good for a lot of things. And a lot of things can come through from the past in love and money with the Venus retrograde. Like, let's say that you worked on things, and plus Venus is going to be retrograde in Capricorn. So money things, business things, work things, and with your stuff out in the world, even if you're not making money for it. Like, let's say it's just a calling or a hobby or something where it's just service to humanity and it's not related to money or income. Things like that might start coming in a big way from your previous work. And if you've got any final touches or something to put on those projects, November is perfect for that. And then you can go back as we get into December and January and kind of chill out and watch what comes into your web. Now, specifically for Virgos, let's talk about this eclipse cycle and the one that's ending and the one that's beginning. Eclipse cycles are so important in astrology. That's why I have an eclipses through each sign and house playlist on my YouTube homepage. That's why I talk about them when we're getting into eclipse season, when we're in eclipse season, because eclipses are directly linked to the north and south node in the sky, in the chart. There are calculations that show us our areas of highest expression in this lifetime, and they show us, that's our dharma. They show us our karma, our challenges, our lessons, our opportunities, plus things that we came in with that we've already have figured out. And these placements work no matter what religious denomination. This is something that's really, really cool about astrology, is that regardless of what you believe, if you believe that spirit gave you one life and this is it, then your south node is everything that God gave you in this lifetime to work with, no matter where it came from. It's there. If you believe in past lives, your karma in your south node shows things that you figured out in your previous lifetimes. You know, it works regardless of what your belief system is, and it's activated at eclipse time. And that makes this time, November and December, supercharged with radical change. And some of those things will be very welcome. Some of those things will be things that you have been waiting for and working towards for a really long time. And some of those things are going to be things that you do not want to deal with and you do not want to say goodbye to. So it's a time of big goodbyes and big hellos. And specifically at this time too, we're ending the Sagittarius Gemini eclipse cycle. So things that had been at play since around March 2020 are now coming to a conclusion or the ending of a big chapter at this time. And we know what happened in March 2020 in the world. It shut down from coronavirus. If you want more insight about how the different layers of astrology factor into the coronavirus and the systems breaking down, you can search for Annie Botticelli coronavirus, and I have a very in-depth report on the different layers of astrology and how that is really what's going on and what is going on. But suffice to say, for our purposes here with our eclipse discussion, for your personal individual cycles, for your community, for the world cycles, there are some things that are coming to a close or the end of a chapter, and we'll be starting a new chapter in the topics of everything that's happened. And that what has been featured very strongly is mobility, education, and international connections, social interactions. All of those are ruled by Gemini and Sagittarius. So online education versus in classroom, you know, working from home versus in the office, the sustainability, you know, different ways of driving or using transportation that is more sustainable. All of these types of topics from the individual out to the global level are going to reach another, you know, critical mass and going to a next level. And for Virgos, the Gemini Sagittarius eclipse cycle was not in a fun angle for you. So it has put more pressure on you for this time because of the activations have been making squares to your placement. And squares don't have to be a bad thing, but they certainly can feel like a bad thing sometimes because of the nature of pressure. If you think about a square, it's like the energy of a diamond being created, and the amount of pressure that is created to create a diamond is just kind of unfathomable. And that is what you have been going through with these eclipses. It's forced you to go down some different paths than you have thought. It's forced you to think outside of the box. It's forced you to change your systems. It's forced you to open up into different things that you had not considered. Some of those things have been very annoying and stressful, and some of those things, I'm sure, have been refreshing and a relief and a release. And that's what the positive aspect is from the cracking open. So Virgo placements have been getting cracked open out of the matrix of your reality and your viewpoint. So hopefully you've seen positive things from that. But I'm also happy to report that this Taurus Scorpio eclipse cycle that's starting now at the end of 2021 will be going until the end of 2023, and we last had from the end of 2012 through the end of 2014. If you want to think back to the kind of things that were going on in that time frame, similar themes are likely going to be coming up now. But these are in more of a favorable angle for your placement, starting right here with the November 19th eclipse at 27 degrees of Taurus. That is in fellow Earth sign. So any of these Earth eclipses are making a favorable angle for you, and that can bring extra positive support for all Virgo placements, but especially those of you who are late degree friends. So if you are in the September, more like really September 13th, 14th through the rest of the sign, in the last like 22 to 29 degrees, the closer to 27 degrees you are, then the more intense. So like basically those of you who are there just a couple of days before it transitions from Virgo to Libra, you all have the chance to have even more positive outcomes because your angle is more honed in of this positive aspect. But don't worry, all the rest of the Virgo placements aren't going to get left out of the goodies. There's a chance for all of that for you. Okay, so let's see what else. Yes, okay, so we've got three main signs being aspected with the personal planets. The personal planets are the ones closest to us. Mercury, Venus, Mars, the Sun, the ones that move more quickly, and those are the ones that change the most in the monthly horoscopes. So we tend to focus on that a lot because those are the things that are very different. The outer planets, they're kind of stodgy. They take a really long time to move. So month to month, they're kind of pretty close to the same place that they were the month before. So that's why what brings us a lot of this monthly change are these personal planets. So we're still working with Scorpio placements, and for Virgo, this is in a nice aspect. So this has to do with your deep, intimate relationships. It has to do with money. It has to do with resources, whether it's from the government or credit or loans or earned or spousal or family or even found or won, anything like that. So there's still some good energy around that for you in supporting whatever you're trying to do. And this could also bring some extra emotion though. So September and October could have started to be very emotional, and the Scorpio energies can often bring just things that have to be dealt with, where you have to dig deeper and just sit and go through and hold space for someone or share your feelings or kind of get to the bottom of something that's been bothering you and get it out into the open. So there might be more of that that's going on. And some of it can be challenged and annoying, but overall, since it's in a nice angle for you, it can just really be really positive and help you to get to deeper layers of intimacy and harmony with your personal relationships. We also have a lot of Sagittarius energy. The Sagittarius eclipse that's in December, we're feeling strongly now. Venus has been moving through Sag. The Sun is going to get into Sag. And in general, this is a very buoyant energy. It's effervescent. It's very scattered. It moves in a circle, and it does tend to spin Virgo out. People with Virgo placements, and I see this every day because my husband has strong Virgo placements, and I have a lot of Sag placements, that we make each other dizzy in different ways because the energies are mutable. Virgo is mutable and Sag is mutable. So there's a spinning energy that goes on. But for Sag, it's like a physical spinning, like literally moving around physically. And for Virgo, it's a mental spinning. And so when you've got this configuration in the stars, things are spinning around you and it's making your head spin more. And you know that it's hard enough for you to kind of keep your center, right? And not let the mental chatter get the best of you. But it's going to be a little harder at this time. So whatever your tools are that you use to manage that, you're going to have to use more of them, and you are going to be required to come out of the mental space and tend to a lot of things physically, and you're going to have to try to clear that headspace in order to use your energy in the best way. So that's happening. And then as Venus moves into Capricorn, that's going to start a cycle where you're getting kisses from Venus, because Venus rules love, beauty, and money. We talked about, Venus is going to go into retrograde. It's going to be in Capricorn that whole time. So the whole cycle of Venus retrograde is super positive for Virgos in that way, because as it's moving through the sign of Capricorn and then moving backwards and then going back and forth, it's making these beautiful kisses with you. And of all the planets to be kissed by, right, Venus rules love and beauty and money and design and, harmony and self-esteem and everything that we think about when we think about my grandma Marge, right? My Italian grandmother that would pop a meatball in my mouth, kiss me on the face, tell me how great I am, bring me into her comfortable house. So I always think about my grandma Marge as Venus, and so you're getting a prolonged experience of kisses from Venus. So since some of that is retrograde energy, you might start seeing things from the past come through, ideas from the past, support from the past, work that you did in the past coming through. And this is also a wonderful time for starting to plant seeds and activate systems that help you to have more passive income. Okay, so Virgo people tend to be some of the big workhorses of the zodiac, and you work tirelessly, and you realize at some point that you can't do it all, and this is a big time for that for you with these Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius. You're waking up to more of the fact that, wow, there's like only so much that you can do. But when you lend certain gifts that you have to different groups, you can expand their efforts and your work can go further with you working less. So just kind of be thinking about that. Think about some ways that maybe you can do 10% less work and have it go further, and kind of just be asking, praying about, actively working on, passively open to the possibility of starting to transform the nature of your work, whether it's service that you do that's not for money. A lot of Virgos I know are major volunteer people, or whether it's your paid work, or both. So that's a very big opportunity for this time. And because this is an active web weaving time, you have a chance to not only plant seeds, but also take big steps on your path of making your life easier while you're still working towards outcomes that are dear to your heart. Well, as usual, I've given you lots of information to help you make the most of the starry opportunities. If you'd like even more information, you can go to anniehelpsyou.com, which is where you can connect in with my podcast, all of my blog sites, my books, my courses. I've got all kinds of free goodies, so you can check all that out at anniehelpsyou.com. You can check out my school, lumelife.com, L-U-M-E, life.com. That's my school, Luminous Life Multiversity. And if you'd like to be a professional astrologer or just learn astrology because you love it and you want to help yourself and your friends, you can see my course there, Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery Course. If you think I go into a lot of details with the free offerings that I do every month, then you should see the details I go into in the comprehensive, organized nature of this course that will equip you to do whatever you'd like to do with astrology. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye!